Okay, take 13. I just wanted to share this morning a thought that I have been just meditating on this morning, and a little insight into me and my lifestyle. For those of you who know me or follow me on Facebook, you realize that I'm heavily involved in athletics. I participate in a sport called CrossFit and various other types of athletics. I enjoy the competitive and competitive. I love pushing myself. I love bettering myself, and I do personal training and things like that. One thing you may not know about me is that my whole entire life, up until about my mid-20s, I struggled with insecurity and self-worth issues. I felt that, and I often say and describe that I had crippling insecurity and no self-worth. And that's not too far from the way that I actually felt on the inside. I lived every single day just looking for something to validate me. Looking for something that I could be not just okay at, but great at. And so I began a lifestyle of pursuing, was it athletics, was it academics, was it maybe I'm talented in music, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that. I always loved singing, and I sing, and not only do I sing everywhere I go, I love all types of music, and that's something that you may not know. I can listen to opera 1 minute and something hip-hop and on the top 40 the next minute. I can listen to the Goodmans 1 minute, and then the very next breath I'm listening to Disciple. I just love music. And I knew that I loved singing, but the problem is that when you sing in front of people, people look at you. And that was a huge problem for me. I used to make jokes that I hid behind microphone stands, not because I was that thin, although I was a little bit thinner than I am now, but it was a barrier. It was a barrier that would separate me from the person that was maybe watching me sing or perform. And in a group of 3 people on stage, you can possibly, kid yourself that everyone's looking at the other 2 and no one's looking at you. And so I would be able to do what I loved doing. So in my mid-20s, I began to walk through healing and deliverance in that area, so much so that it's been, fast forward 20 years. It feels like a different person. I don't even hardly associate with that part of who I was back then. I've just been, thankfully, so healed and delivered by a loving Father. Fast forward to yesterday. I just felt led to record and sing a song. I follow a few people who do that on their websites, and I love it. And so when I actually went to do it, I found myself doing 2 or 3 takes. I didn't just watch my performance, I analyzed my performance. I didn't just analyze my performance, I over-analyzed my performance. I didn't critique it, I was critical with it. I did not watch it with 20/20 eyes, I watched it with a microscope. And it took everything on the inside of me to find a take that, well, I guess it's as good as it's going to get, and I hit send. And I only put it on our ministry Facebook for a long time because it's just different with people that I know enjoy our group versus the rest of the people maybe on Facebook. And what I found yesterday was a little bit about myself, and that's what I wanted to share. I've been 20 years delivered from the type of crippling insecurity and no self-worth, and yet yesterday I was back there. I just lived in this not a fear, but just an apprehension, and it just rocked me to think that it wasn't perfect. And I had a goober in my throat, and my hair had a hole, and all these different things that I overanalyzed and was very critical about. And then later in the afternoon, I stood with Dave and Monty in the kitchen, and I'm like, well, you want to see what I did today? And I kind of stood there because Dave and Monty know music, and I was kind of anxious because I knew it wasn't perfect. And as we were watching it, and I read the comments to them because I was shocked that it had such a nice response. Monty said to me, he says, you know the thing that you don't see in that video? And I was thinking of all the imperfections, and he pointed out that it was the anointing. And that's where I think all things came to a close for me, and why I'm doing this morning. I've been listening to a message by Stephen Furtick, and it's called "I'm Better Under Pressure." And it's a great message. He's from Elevation Church. I'll just put a little plug out for that. It's been a wonderful. I've listened to it probably a dozen times in the last week and a half. And one of the thought processes that he brings out, and that I found myself reconciling this morning, was I'm not that important. And it's not that I'm not important, but I'm not that important that the universe will fall off its axis if I don't participate in things in life. And I make myself and make things a bigger deal than what need to be made. And so I think that's what I wanted to talk about this morning, is just that I'm not that important. I am thankful every single day that I'm gifted to participate in God's purpose and God's plan. But one of the thought processes in that message was, if I decided not to participate in God's purpose and God's plan, that his purpose and plan would still be fulfilled and would still go on without me. And so that's real humbling to realize that I'm looking at something with a microscope, and God's just saying, you're just not that important. I love you and you are important, but don't get that bent. And so I'm thankful today that I had a small participation in God's purpose to just encourage people yesterday. We have a saying in the gym, and it's kind of crude, and I'll apologize in advance for it, but in CrossFit, there are times that we get into a workout that you really meet yourself, and they're really a challenge, and you really want to quit, and you have to dig deep, and you have to just close everything out and just muddle through it. And we say you need to embrace the suck. And what does that mean? It's hard. It's challenging. You're uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable to the point that you want to quit. But you have to embrace that. And you have to muddle through that. And what the reward is for embracing that level of discomfort is that you're a stronger person on the other side of that workout. So yesterday I found it a challenge to my security. I found it a challenge to things that I thought I had far overcome. But I embraced that. And I hit it, and I did it anyway, and I was uncomfortable with that out there. It felt naked, it felt vulnerable, but I embraced that. And today I realize that I'm not that important, and God will fulfill his purpose and his plan without me, but that yesterday I got a chance to participate in it, and I'm so thankful for that. So my challenge to you today is this: find something that just makes you uncomfortable, and you know that God is calling you to do it, and you know that he's been trying to push you in an area, and you've just been resisting it. Do it uncomfortable. Do it afraid. Do it scared, knee knocking, just do whatever you can do and participate in God's purpose and God's plan. And what's going to happen is, on the other side of that will come the joy of knowing that you were a participant and not just a bystander. Well, I hope it was encouraging to you. I hope you have a great weekend. More importantly, I hope that you come and see the Thurston family sometime soon. God bless.